Roland, we're here at ABFF in Southeast Miami. First of all, this event's been going on for 20 years. How important is this for our black filmmakers, up-and-coming filmmakers, and there's a race aspect? How important is that?
Well, first and foremost, this goes beyond just the filmmakers. Because this matters whether you're in front of the camera or behind the camera, whether you are an experienced professional or you're up-and-coming. Because what this represents is the ability to be able to interact, connect with, speak to folks who already walk down that path. And so to be able to come here and be able to sit down, communicate with, talk with, ask questions, that's critically important. And I think a lot of times that we don't fully appreciate those kind of conversations. I'm a life member of the National Association of Black Journalists, and I can tell you what I have been able to learn, being able to go to the convention and being able to talk to, being able to meet with and communicate with those folks. That's what's important. I think ABFF is the same.
Okay, cool. So I'm just going to take it down another avenue. You started, I'm not sure if you started TV1, but...
No, TV1 was launched. TV1 is 12 years old. I've been there 11 of those 12 years.
Okay.
Jonathan Rogers was our founding CEO,
okay.
And Alfred Liggins, of course, was the CEO of Radio One. And I was there when Jonathan left Discovery Network, retired, and when they met the cable show in New Orleans to talk about TV1, I was there as well.
That's awesome. So I used to work in news too. I used to do the news editing and stuff like that. So in terms of racial, putting our black stories first. How important is that for us as African Americans to get our stories told from our viewpoints?
Well, first of all, one has to have an understanding and appreciation of the black press, period. First, do understand the first black newspaper in America called the Freedom's Journal, which was launched in 1827. And the lead editorial of the first black newspaper, they said, quote, "We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken before us." That was 1827.
Wow.
So they understood then that you need to be able to tell your story, not have it told through somebody else's eyes. To bring it back to ABFF, the exact same thing. When you look at some of these films out here that have told, quote, the black story. When you look at Pico, where Denzel Washington was nominated for the Academy Award. That movie was told through the eyes of a white man.
Exactly.
When you look, even if you look at 42, Chadwick Boseman playing Jackie Robinson, that movie was told more through the eyes of Branch Rickey than Jackie Robinson. And so when you talk about being able to tell your story through your lens, that's important. That's where black media comes in. If you look at the black press, the role of black press displayed in the civil rights movement. The New York Times, Time Magazine, Newsweek, those publications, Washington Post, they were not covering the civil rights movement. One of the most racist newspapers in America was the Chicago Tribune. Look at the Chicago Defender being created in Chicago.
Wow.
You go back and actually read those editorials. The Chicago Tribune was defending lynching. Then you have the Chicago Defender that was actually writing the stories that were about lynching. And so, who led the great migration of blacks leaving the South, leaving Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, to come up north to Chicago, to Milwaukee, to Detroit, was the Chicago Defender. And so, our history has shown us what happens when African Americans are telling our story. When Bishop Desmond Tutu got an award at the Trumpet Awards, he stood up in front of everyone and he said, literally he had 2,000+ African Americans in the room. He said, "Y'all don't understand what it meant for us growing up in apartheid South Africa to see your black success." Now, as African Americans, we were not necessarily thinking what was happening in the 30s, 40s, and 50s was black success. But if you were an impoverished kid in Johannesburg and you were seeing, and he told the story of literally seeing, coming across an old Ebony magazine in South Africa, and going through this magazine and seeing these African Americans, that was his idea of black success. He only saw that because of a black magazine. If it wasn't for the black magazine, he would have never seen that. So that shows you then the importance of black media, and then what we do present day with TV1, with our internet division, Interactive One, we are showing perspectives. We're telling stories that you will not see on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and that's what we represent.
Wow. Wow. Mr. Roland, I have to tell you, and I told you off camera plenty of times, that you've inspired me as a black journalist to push forward, and I just love the way you present information, and it is just always knowledgeable, and you bring it back to the topic. And, you know, for me and for black, you know, youth coming up, I just want to, you know, thank you for the guys out
Appreciate
there.
it.
Now, when we talk about Africa, the diaspora, we look across, there is no prominent black country at all. My family is from Haitian descent. We talk about Haiti, we're not even going to go into all of that, but you know, there's no black country that's prominent at all. When we talk about the African diaspora, what do we have to do as a people to lift us from the bottom of where we're at to get, you know, where we're
Well,
going?
first of all, again, though, to understand, to your question, then you can't ignore colonialism. You can't ignore the raping of rich history countries for the purpose of whether it's England, whether it's America, whether it's France, whether it's Spain. And so what you're seeing is you're seeing a shift. First of all, everybody has to forget, most of your African nations were not free, didn't gain their freedom until the 60s.
African nations, and that's
Yes, because of colonialism. So again, so when you look, Dr. King was was part of the contingent of people from the United States who went to the inauguration of Nkrumah in Ghana. Okay, you're talking about the late 50s. Right. So it's not as if those countries, they were in control of those countries for 2-3 centuries. You're only talking about 50, 60 years. So when you begin to talk about Nigeria, and Senegal, and Ghana, you begin to go through that, you're talking about countries actually gaining freedom. So they are actually in the infancy of being able to control their own destiny.
right.
So if you say America created in 1776, you're in 2016, imagine if you're one of those countries and you're now only in control of your freedom for maybe 55 years, maybe 60 years. That's a small amount of period. So you have to understand it from that vantage point, but you are seeing the advances, you are seeing those countries grow stronger. I was just talking with Patrick Gaspar, who's the U.S. ambassador to South Africa.
Okay.
He said if there's one country that is actually doing that, it's actually Kenya. Doesn't mean it's perfect, doesn't mean they haven't had issues, but you are seeing the development of a strong economic base, a strong cultural base, and so that's one of the countries that's actually doing it.
So knowledgeable. I swear I've learned something from you every time. Just the way you carry yourself off camera and the way, I thank you so much as a black journalist, and I really look up to you. For CANEtv, now, we are Caribbean and African American. Do you have any Caribbean in you at all?
Actually, my grandparents, they migrated from Haiti to Louisiana.
From where? From Haiti?
Haiti.
Okay, so
Yes.
if I say sac passe, do you know what that means?
No. I said grandparents.
Okay.
Folks migrated from Haiti.
Quick lesson, man. You always teach me a quick lesson. Sac passe is what's up in Creole, and napule is how you respond. So if I say
My
sac
grandfather
passe,
spoke Creole.
okay.
Yeah, but he didn't teach us Creole. He said you're gonna learn English.
Okay, well, I just got you a little something. Sac passe,
All right.
napule. Listen,
Cool.
Mr. Roland, I thank you so
Appreciate it.
much.
Thanks a lot.
CANEtv.